Hello, 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 everybody. It's your girl, Ashley, the amateur expert, and I'm coming to you live today, this Talk Tuesday. I'll be interviewing Christina Michelle Jones, and I'm excited for you to hear her story and to be inspired by her journey. So if you don't know the concept of the show, I go live every week, and I talk to people about their career path. I talk to them about their idea of success when they first started out, what it is today, has it changed, why? And also I talk to them about their tips and motivators that they use along the way. So Christina's in the room. We're going to get her at it and we'll get chatting. Maybe.
Hey girl, hey.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you? Welcome to the show. I'm
Thank
cut off,
you.
but now I'm back. So welcome. If you can, please introduce yourself, tell the people who you are and what you do currently for work.
So my name is Christina Jones. I am currently special counsel for youth initiatives for the DC Office of the Attorney General, which basically means that I advise the Attorney General on policies and programming for youth between the ages of 0 and 24.
Awesome. And then you also are the co-host
The
of
Mary and Martha podcast.
Yay! Okay, so when you were younger, when you were a child, what did you want to be when you were growing up?
So I always wanted to be a prosecutor. And in fact, I have like this beam of light. It's like the Lord is coming down on me. I always wanted to be a prosecutor. So, in fact, I was a prosecutor for 8 years before I transitioned into my current role. I loved being a prosecutor. I got asked a million times, like, how can you be a Black person and be a prosecutor? And for me, it's about the fact that most people who commit crimes, they commit crimes against people who are their own race or their own ethnicity.
Okay.
Cross-racial crimes aren't that common.
Mm.
So for me, it was really important to represent the victims, especially the victims who look just like us.
Right. That makes sense. And so you said you were a prosecutor for 8 years, you said?
Yep.
Okay, so can you just sort of walk us on your journey? So you've always had the intention of being a lawyer, being a prosecutor. So what did that look like for you?
So let me back up a little bit. So I always wanted to be a prosecutor because when I was a child, I was sexually abused as a child. And for me, went through the entire process, the police department, they were taking statements, and I remember being at the hospital and all those types of things. And then we get to the court case, and I remember just feeling like the prosecutor in the case didn't fight for me. And that always stuck with me. So I knew at the age of 9, because that's how old I was when the court case was going, that I wanted to be a prosecutor because I wanted to be a voice for the victims who were just like me, who were going through this situation, who needed somebody to really step up and fight for them. So I ended up becoming a prosecutor in the same exact courthouse where I was victim number 4.
Oh, wow.
Because in the same prosecutor's office. Because for me, that was really important and a part of my journey to feel like taking back some control of what had happened to me. So that's kind of, I always tell people you need to really turn your pain into what your purpose is. And when you're really walking in your purpose, you're walking in something you're familiar with,
right?
Something that you have a heart, like a heartstring for. So whenever you're doing something that's aligned with your purpose, you're never going to feel mentally, like, health-wise depleted. You're going to feel, like we were just talking about, you're going to feel physically depleted.
Of course.
But for me, I went through law school or college, law school, and then I jumped right in. So I was a prosecutor at the age of 25. Before that, I worked for a judge, which a lot of people do. A lot of people who are fortunate enough to get to spend a year with the judge, kind of like as a judge's lawyer. So that's like a really prestigious position as a young attorney, and then I jump right into being a prosecutor.
That is, like, there's so many things that I'm thinking about, but an awesome way, like you said, to turn your pain into your passion. And I am proud that you're you fulfilled your dream and that you're being an advocate now. Oh,
Yeah.
I love it.
Thank you.
So what are you doing now for work?
So, I was very fortunate to be in an office I've always been in the office with like bosses and elected officials who have really been more like mentors to me. And I got pulled up this summer to be basically a senior advisor for my current boss. So now I've done a lot, in a lot of different spaces with kids, whether it's making sure kids are safe, from either like predators or, other kids who can do them harm.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really, really been important to me to like further the journey that I've already been on.
And so what I forgot to ask you, what was your idea of success when you were wanting to be a prosecutor when you were younger? And I think you touched on it, but just if you can just reiterate.
So my idea of success would be someone who is in the courtroom, someone who is really advocating for people who, were in their most vulnerable points in life. Mm-hmm. And need somebody to really articulate for them what their issue is and what can really be done to redress their issue. So for me, the first day I walked in the courthouse, I was like, oh my gosh, I made it, I did it. And then like my first trial and my first jury trial, all of that, to me was how I measured success. Mm-hmm. And just like getting out there and doing it. I lost my very first jury trial. Oh, wow. And for me, it was just, it's funny because my opponent was this older white guy who was really like super sweet, like a pop. And he told me at the beginning, he's like, this is your first jury trial. Just have fun. Just like do your thing. And one of my biggest takeaways is, for me in my career, it's been just do it. Like, just done is better than perfect. Yes. And sometimes the action of actually just getting that thing, getting your feet wet, getting in it will give you the power to do the next time, to really power you up the next time you have to do that thing. So really think about, I don't need to have every box checked as long as I am not about to look stupid. Like, you need to be prepared, but sometimes preparation can paralyze you. Too much preparation can paralyze you.
Yeah, I feel like I was just having that conversation with someone or talking to myself about it or listening to a podcast. But yes, that is on the money. Mm-hmm. So now what is your idea of success? Has it changed? And if so, why?
So yes, it has. My priorities have definitely shifted in my life. So I actually got to a place, after 8 years of doing anything, you're going to be like, okay, what's next? I need to do something different. Right. Because for me, like when I was a prosecutor, one of the last things I did was I supervised all of the sexual assault cases in my office. So all the cases where a child was sexually assaulted by another child, I handled. Mm. And at a certain point, you kind of feel like, oh my God, if I hear one more story. These cases are incredibly important. I love doing them. But for me, I really wanted to look at, like, how can I make a bigger impact in a bigger pond? And for me, that was really going the policy route. Mm-hmm. And figuring out how to take all of my experience and advising someone else on what to do with these issues.
So how did you transition, or how did you think about, or why did you think that it was time to delve into the podcast world?
So Keisha and I, who is my co-host, shout out to Keisha Morgan.
Yes.
She's my co-host. She and I have been friends since the courthouse. Like, we both met as young attorneys, right? Both working for judges. And we were literally sitting on my couch one day watching some 90s movie. And we started talking about, let's do a podcast together. It was really organic. We were just like super chilling. And we made the decision, this is really going to be a ministry. We really want to hear a podcast with two Black chicks who talk like us, who look like us, who have a similar experience, who really want to dive in deep to the Bible. And how can it really relate to our everyday lives as Black women? So we started doing a Bible study together. Because, you know, most times you have friends and like they may, shout out to the ring, they may like, you may have conversations with them about God, but you're not intentionally doing Bible studies with them. For us, in doing a podcast, we're doing a weekly Bible study. So we wanted to make sure that our conversations were organic. Because we may be talking about hair and, you know, guys, etc., organically, but you don't organically talk to people about the Bible, not in that kind of depth. So we wanted to make sure we were prepared. So we spent 6 months just Bible studying by ourselves, like meeting weekly to go over passages and scriptures and themes and etc. And then in March of this year, we actually launched the Mary and Martha podcast.
I love it. I don't know. Everything, like, so when I met you, we met at Women Evolve in July, and I had the card that we shared, but I left it in the other room. But what was exciting to me is there was like a spark that you had, right? So like we were both there and searched for whatever we needed from being at the conference, but there was a spark in you that I definitely resonated with. And when you spoke about the podcast and you were speaking about just your journey, I was just so excited to just like be in your presence. Oh, like there was a light in you. So I'm so happy that you're doing this with me today.
Thank you. I'm happy to be doing this with you too, girl.
Thank you.
There was such a light in the spark, and I was, you know, I think cousin Sarah did a great job of curating an event that really brought together women who were not only excited to be around other women, but really wanted to pour into, be around, be an encourager for other women. So shout out to her for pulling together such a great conference. For sure.
So can you tell me something that you have learned, or or something that you learned that you wish you have learned sooner, or in the process of still learning, that you wish you knew to help you sort of along your journey?
So for me, being a litigator at the beginning, it's a very contentious place. Like the nature of the game is litigation and to win, or justice, or, you know, someone's going to win, someone's going to lose. And for me, I took a lot of stuff personally at the beginning. Like a lot of arguments people made, I was like, did you just call me stupid? And they're like, no, I'm talking about you're misinterpreting the case law. I'm like, no, you're calling me stupid. And that's unrealistic when you're in a field such as litigation. Like you cannot take it seriously. Like you have to just say, okay, you know, this is a case and we're leaving it here. Like we're going to walk out, you know, the lawyers at least, we're going to walk out. We're not going to hold it against each other. We're fighting for different interests, and like, it's not about you, it's about the case. And I think for me, that's a great life lesson too. So one of the things that I didn't say is I am a pastor's wife. I was
going to tap into that, but thank you.
Oh, that's my real job. Of Zion Church Woodbridge. Shout out to Zion Church Woodbridge. But like even with church, like you can't take stuff personally. People come in with all kinds of baggage, issues, problems, and sometimes it's not you, it's them. And you have to be strong enough to like internalize what you need to, soak up what you need to, but leave right there with them the stuff that you don't, because spirits will jump on you. And you'll be wondering, why am I in such a bad mood? Oh, it's because I was just with this person who I allowed their negativity and their pain. Sometimes it's just they're in pain. Really affect me and drag me down. So whatever career you're in, whatever situation, whatever friendships you're in, don't allow everything to be taken personally. Sometimes it's not about you.
Amen. And so to piggyback off of that, what tips or motivators did you use along your journey to keep you inspired?
For me, I will always say that 8-year-old Christina inspires me. So making her proud is really, for me, kind of what my baseline standard is. And if I can see that girl in my head as I go throughout my day, my month, you know, whatever season that I'm in, and she's still smiling, then I'm good. because that's who I want to. I mean, her and Jesus.
Amen.
Her and Jesus.
Oh man, that's good. No, that's good. And it's funny because I will probably transition to myself, but currently my motivating factor is my little sister. So if it's not appropriate for her, or it's not something that I would allow her to have, or not have, but partake in, then why would it be okay for me?
Yeah.
So sort of the same but different, but similar
right
ways to motivate yourself. So that's cool.
My little sister is 30 and off the chain, so she'd be like, I'm gonna do it too. Like, no, I can't. I love her. She can't be my motivator.
Well, mine is 10. She'll be 11 next week. She's going on 30, but that's a different story. But yeah, so it's easier for me to say what's okay and not okay for her, where I don't necessarily see myself. But if I wouldn't allow her to be in a situation, then I can't be in a situation either. So that's sort of what I've been using as my marker these days.
That's good.
Yes, ma'am. So I call myself the amateur expert. I consider myself to know a little bit about a lot. So if you could please share with me a random tidbit of information, something I can say, hey, Christina taught me that.
Okay, so I would definitely say keep your schedule the same. Like, keep a routine that's like your thing that will keep you kind of balanced out. Like, I think a lot of people get caught up in how productive was I today? Was I slacking? Was I not really doing much? And a routine for me really helps with whether or not I feel like I've accomplished a lot that day. So for example, when I am in peak mode, like I get up, I go to the gym. Actually, rewind. I get up, I read my Bible, I go to the gym. I used to go to the gym and then read my Bible, but then I didn't want to like sit in my funk as I'm reading the word.
Yeah,
so like
I get that.
So get up, read my Bible, center myself. Like Mary Martha podcast, we talk a lot about the importance of connecting with God. And if I don't hit that connection point in the morning, my day is probably going to be off. I'm probably going to cuss a little more. I'm probably going to be mad at, people a little longer, a little harder. Yeah. But I have to take that moment to kind of recenter myself and remind myself why I'm here, why am I awake, who's in control. Then going to the gym, getting my workout on, getting my heart pumping. It's really important to me. And then going into work and even having the routine inside of work. Like when I get in, this is what the first thing I do in terms of emails. I always try to get the bulk of my work done in the morning before 12, and all of my meetings, my desire is to have them after lunch, because for me, it's harder for me to sit still after lunch, but I can definitely have a meeting and converse and figure out, strategies and stuff like that. And then when I get home, I can really just decompress, watch my Basketball Wives or whatever. I love hip hop. Let me tell you something. I love Ratchet TV. Let me be honest with you. I love Ratchet TV. That is my outlet. That is my escape.
Listen, you're allowed. You're allowed.
That is not one of my convictions. But I want to make sure for me that my home time is like when I can breathe, when I can just do my own thing. So either, I'm focusing on the podcast, or maybe I'm focusing on any one of my other 18 jobs that I have on the side.
Correct. Yeah.
So routine is very important. Get the routine figured out.
And I'm actually in the process of establishing one and adhering to it, right? Because I think it's easy to create one and then you're like, so creating and adhering to it is important.
Yep.
Well, my dear, I want to thank you again for being a guest. You were very transparent, and I appreciate that. You have shed some light on some, I think, good topics, and you were very informative. So
thank you.
If you could just share, let the people know where they can find you, how they can listen to the podcast, and anything else you have coming up that you want people to know about.
Of course. So you can find me at Christina Michelle Jones. Yes, my whole government name is out there on the internet, so I'm gonna fix that one day. On Instagram, or at Mary and Martha Podcast on Instagram. We are live every Thursday, all of your favorite podcasting apps. And also tomorrow, if you're in the DC area, we are having a live podcast with the book Kingdom Come.
Awesome.
Author Tamsi. So we are very excited about that. Cannot wait to do our first live and in living color show. So pray for us if you are not going to be in the area.
For sure. I'll be sending love and light to you guys. Yes, absolutely. That's exciting.
But you know, done is better than perfect. So we can get it done tomorrow.
That's right. That's how you do it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, all this information will be in the show notes on YouTube, and then in a few weeks it will be out on all of the podcasts as well. So,
awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for having me.
Of course. And talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.